Hello, friends, and welcome to the Union Labor Advisory Network. I'm Mike Fina. Today, I'm extremely proud and privileged to be with somebody interviewing today, John Bulgaro, longtime Teamster. I'm not going to steal any thunder as we interviewed John and learn a little bit more about his history, background, and experience. But John, I want to thank you very much for joining the network and sitting down with some of the viewers today to learn a little bit more about your Teamster history and everything that you've done for quite some time with the Teamsters.
Well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time. 57 years is a long time. And, I started out as a truck driver, 17 years, and progressed to become a business agent and then secretary treasurer. And for the last quarter century, the president of the local and joint council in our area.
And can you share some of the things that you strive for, John, as a Teamster or in your career or, your day-to-day life, how you've been working? Because you are, as a Teamster and as an executive board, you're serving your members. So, really just, working to help them and maybe we could share a day in the life of you.
Well, the beautiful part about this job is when you come from the rank and file. When you come from the rank and file, you understand from that perspective, that viewpoint versus your viewpoint as an elected official. Mm-hmm. And to come from there, you go back to basics. When you become a representative of the local, you're dealing for and with members, and most of their members, you end up with a personal relationship. They actually be I've made a lot of great friends through our membership that will stay with me forever, and they you don't you don't make those friends without engaging, and I think it all starts there. You need to, and what I tell my business agents, you got to return every call, even the hard ones, and you have to engage with the members. They need somebody to talk to get a perspective of, and if it's not you, it's going to be somebody else. So to me, that's the basics: returning your calls, making sure you communicate with the members, stop and see them. We're a diversified union. We're not like some unions that are one craft union. We are extremely diversified. So there's different issues with different groups, and you have to be able to engage with those issues. You have to be able to separate the issues from one industry to another industry if you're going to be successful. And that's what I strive to do, and that's what I have our agents strive to do is being able to multitask and being able to separate nonsense from reality.
Right.
Engaging is the most part. You need to return those phone calls, most important, and stop and see the members.
And John, in your career too, I know when you took over as president, I know the local's grown. So, over the past years that you've been in place, could you tell us a little bit how long or how the union's grown or the membership?
Well, our local has went from probably 2,800 to almost 6,000 members. Some of that through mergers, some of that through organizing, combination of both. There are locals that have merged with us who fell on hard times, who were not really operating the way they should. They weren't being efficient, so that they ended up against the wall, and they had to be merged. So we've taken in members that way, and we've taken in a lot of members through organizing, and it's a matter of running a quality union. It's a business, but it's a people-oriented business, and it's not like a normal for-profit business.
Right. Yeah, and I've had some conversation as well, and just talking about all these union organizations are set up as a nonprofit for the benefit of your membership, And I look
Yeah,
at some terrible organizations, and with your collective board, try to find the best possible benefits and services that you could provide through your executive board. It's a task in and of itself.
yeah, absolutely. It's not a one person show. You have to have quality people around you. You have to bring in people from the rank and file, hopefully that you can get them from, and they can they're able to do the job. It's not one person; it's a team.
Without a doubt. And so it's Teamsters 294. I know when we first started off, I'm not sure if you mentioned the local, but 294. And then you also run or the president of one of the joint councils up in upstate New York as well, Joint Council 18. You want to share a little
Yes,
bit about that?
yeah. There are three joint councils in New York State. One in the New York City area, one in the Central Region, Albany area, and another one in the Buffalo area. And each council, all locals in a geographic area are required to belong to a joint council. I had the joint council in this region, and the purpose of the council is uh, to deal with issues that arise from members who have a complaint that go beyond their union, local union, or for locals that have an issue with each other to try to resolve. So we're the step between the international and the local union, making sure things function properly.
Gotcha. And then you also, I know you sit on a lot of executive boards as well, but the New York State AFL-CIO as well. Is that something that you're
Yes,
affiliated
I'm a vice president of New York State AFL-CIO. Great organization, uh, great great leadership there from Mario, and it's an effective way of bringing all the unions in the state together, uh, private sector, public sector, all of them. We cross both lines, so we engage with both.
in your local, John? I know you mentioned diversified local of members. Could you share a little bit about the diversification within your local specifically?
Oh yeah, we have many industries. We from police officers to corrections officers to UPS drivers to freight drivers to construction workers, public sector, small towns. We have a lot. People don't realize how many we have in small towns, small groups, villages, um, towns, counties, where members, potential members need help. They come to us, and we organize them and put a contract in place for them. So we cross all lines. I mean, I can think of 10 under other industries.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can. And again, today's world, John, I know a lot of different things going on in regards to labor. Can you share again from your 57 years some of the toughest challenges that you've seen as a Teamster thus far? Some of the things that you're going for that I guess consumers or communities could help get around and help to support some of the causes or issues that you're facing today.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. One of them, right now it was a hot button issue last year on the pension issues. And as we know, there's a lot of pensions that were in trouble. And right away, the elected officials that didn't want to support it, said, "Oh, they weren't managed properly," or something like that. But if you look at it, there's one of the hot button issues that goes back to deregulation. When Congress deregulated the trucking industry, which, by the way, was the premier transportation system in the world, they destroyed a lot of decent paying jobs that had a lot of members and companies leave the industry. And what it did was it had an impact on pensions. It had an impact on health coverage. It had an impact on jobs. To me, that's paramount. That was one of the worst, I think, decisions that were ever made for our entire industry. It did not helped the transportation. It did not help jobs. Matter of fact, it reduced decent paying jobs, and it led to the pension issues that I just spoke about.
Right.
Now, when you take thousands of people out of an industry, hundreds of companies out of business with a stroke of a pen, it it has an impact that follows. And it took a while, but all of a sudden, pensions were in trouble. Well, when you have less people and companies paying in the pension and more money paying out, you don't have to be a genius to know there's going to be a problem.
Right.
And that's, to me, was one of the biggest issues that came along. And you couple that with decisions that were made from some elected officials, that different administrations that made organizing members more difficult. It that Those two things together put a strain on the pension funds, the health funds, that, by the way, made life better for so many people.
Right. And again, you talk about some difficulties, and you mentioned about organizing the right people together, your executive team, so all work together on this particular fight and make sure that people have good quality jobs, good union teams to paying jobs going forward in the future. And, another thing, John, I want to ask you is like, what some of the most rewarding parts of your job, some key drivers you believe have made you successful as a leader in your particular role as well?
Well, I have several agents and field reps that I direct, and they're a product of what I do. And when they're successful, I'm successful.
Yeah.
And recently, we just had a member that was he interestingly he pulled over. There was a car in front of him, and it flipped over in a ditch. He stopped, pulled out a woman and her two children, and cost him a few hours. He was there quite a while, and he left the scene after that, continued, did his day's work, and next day he got fired for something unrelated, and we felt like it was totally inappropriate to be fired for. Long story short, went through the grievance procedure. The man was put back to work with $40,000 in back pay and benefits. So those are the rewarding things. You don't hear about them every day. You don't hear about that protection of a guy doing the right thing and getting no reward for it and just moving on and doing his day's work, and then being what we felt mistreated another way. When you can correct that, that's a good thing. That's a good day,
Yeah, without a doubt, John. And hats off to your local and the IBT as well. Just really start to share some of these particular stories on social media as well, to say these are what the Teamsters are doing. I mean, it's day in the life of, or how you guys are moving America, and just building certain careers or just leading industry. It's attributed to some of the leadership, obviously you for so long, and I'm just proud to know you. I know there's some things happening as well. I mean, I guess this is the year that you might be transitioning a little bit, so you want to maybe share some of that story as well. But you don't go away. You just just put on a different hat slightly, right?
You can never go away. You can't leave 57 years behind. Okay,
Not at all.
that's been your life, been what you do. There comes a
Yep.
time to move on. I probably overstated, but there comes a time to move on, and you can't do nothing. You're used to going all the time. You can't do nothing. So I am going to retire this year from the local union and the joint council, and pass the baton to other competent, qualified people, and we'll go forward. I'll stay engaged in some of the other parts of uh, our overall picture that will allow me to, and let my experience be helpful going forward and into the transition. So I'll stay part-time, but I'm, doing things, but not going to do it full-time anymore. I'll leave that to the younger guys, you know.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Any hobbies or things that you like to do, or you plan on doing after the fact now that you have a little bit more free time?
Well, probably, I always engage with my grandkids. That's always fun, to a point. But other than that, I want to get away for a few weeks in the winter and get to a warmer climate and come back, play a little golf while I'm away, and other than that, just chilling a little bit,
I
just
gotcha.
taking it easy.
I gotcha. And any further words or remarks that you'd like to leave with the audience in regards to your history, life, or legacy you might like to leave behind?
Uh, yeah, I would recommend to anybody that follows in this business is that you just keep your eye on the ball. Don't let unpopular decisions guide what you need to do. Uh, there's always unpopular decisions to be made, and as a leader, you need to make them. And you don't let you don't let those decisions be impacted by what people will like. It's not like I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what needs to be done. And if you follow that principle, I think it will go a long way in helping people out and helping yourself out as well.
Thanks. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. I just want to thank you for everything that you've done over your career, the opportunity to meet you and know you. I know I'll be seeing you in March at your retirement party or event. And I just, I'm proud to know you as a Teamster and as a labor leader. And I just want to thank you for all that you've done and continue to do throughout your career and in your future as well.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the time that you've been on the air and putting the message out for working people. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. And best of luck, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Take care.